Hey everyone, we're going to make the rounds and both talk to our companions as well as wrap up some of their personal quests. Partially because we need power to advance in the storyline, partially because, well, it's fun and you learn more about them and Thetis. We did follow up on contacting the hero of Ferelden. We're going to be able to open up her letter in just a second.
Our soldiers handled themselves well in Adamant.
We've come a long way since Haven. I fear there's still a ways to go. We're prepared.
This is our letter from the hero of Ferelden. In it, she tells us that she doesn't know anything that can help us. She's been very busy on her mission to overturn the calling for herself, Alistair, and all of the wardens. She does send us a few gifts to help out, as well as a warning not to let anything happen to Alistair. I'm personally really hoping that in the next game we get to explore what she's doing to end the calling and how that's going to play out. So far, to my knowledge, a Dragon Age 4 hasn't officially been announced, but I'm really hoping, obviously, that we're going to get one. Let's see what's up with Josephine.
Inquisitor, I must speak with you.
What is it?
I must explain something first about the Montilier's fortunes.
I remember you said your family had been forbidden from trading in Orlais.
It's devastated our finances. The Montilier's have, in fact, been in debt for over 100 years.
Debt or no, you appear to be surviving.
That isn't enough. A disaster could wipe us out completely. For generations, we've done everything to keep creditors at bay. Sold our lands to stave off interest. It's just... it is infuriating to see my family still reduced to this. I'm to become head of our house. If I sell any more of our land, my family will become destitute. That cannot be my legacy to them.
Most people worry about their next meal, never mind an estate.
I'm not blind, but I worry for my family. My foolish sister Yvette with her daydreams. My brothers trying to rebuild our fleet with their own hands. Is it wrong to hope they never know hardship?
So you're going to torture yourself over your ancestors' mistakes?
No, but I'd made such progress. I negotiated a chance to reinstate the Montiliers as landed traders in Orlais. We could rebuild with that. But when I dispatched paperwork to Val Royeaux, I've just learned my carriers were murdered, and the documents restoring my family's trading status destroyed.
Who hates the Montiliers enough to do that?
Leliana made inquiries that bore success. Comte Boisvert, a nobleman in Val Royeaux, claims to know who killed my messengers. He has a request that you come when I meet him, so he's seen publicly conferring with you.
What will being seen with me gain the Comte?
The Comte will drop hints at parties he's to meet with an important visitor. Allies and rivals will take note. Once he's met you, there will be speculation. The Comte will subtly spin reports to his advantage. He will use us. But if he knows who killed my people, I ask that we indulge him.
I hope the Comte isn't making up information just to be seen with me.
I will take full responsibility if that's the case, Inquisitor. I must know who killed my couriers just to harm my family.
Obviously, it's time to go to Val Royeaux.
I trust you've heard what befell Roderick at Haven.
I'm not entirely clear. An army of some sort attacked?
So we're told. He died a hero, leading the people of Haven to safety through the mountains.
Sweet Andraste guide is following us.
Do you know where this noble wanted to meet us?
I do. The Comte Boisvert's invited us to his mansion, not far from here. I pray he clears up the deaths of my messengers, as promised.
Lead the way.
Welcome, my friend.
Thank you for seeing us, Comte Boisvert.
The honor is mine. Please, sit. It's an honor to assist two such distinguished guests.
I hope helping us doesn't endanger you.
Hardly. Even a brush with someone as well known as yourself can become a great asset in Valroyo. Giving you the identity of those who murdered Lady Montile's messengers seemed the least I could do. Have you heard of the House of Repose?
The Assassin's League?
My contacts obtained a copy of a document in the archives. Contract for life.
The House of Repose is hereby sworn to eliminate anyone attempting to overturn the Montilier's trading exile in Orlais.
Overly complicated assassination plots are part of Orlesian politics, I take it.
They're all too common, I'm afraid.
The contract was signed by a noble family. The Du Paraquets.
But the Du Paraquets died out as a noble line over 60 years ago.
Indeed. But the contract was signed 109 years ago.
How can a family try to kill you after they died out?
The Du Paraquets were our rivals. They drove the Montiliers from Valroyo. This contract was drawn up over 100 years ago, but it wasn't invoked until I tried to overturn my family's exile.
Unpleasant though it may be, the House of Repose is merely fulfilling its contractual duties.
If the people who wanted your family dead are gone, why are the assassins still after you?
A contract is a contract, Inquisitor. Orlesian businesses live and die by their reputations. The entire guild's welfare would be endangered if an agreement was tossed aside on a whim of time or fate.
She's quite right, Your Worship. The House of Repose is doing what it feels necessary, by its standards.
I assume you have a thought or two on this, Josephine?
The Du Paraquets still have descendants under the common branch. If we elevate them to nobility, a Du Paraquet could annul the contract on my life.
That will take time, Lady Montilyet. Time during which the House of Repose will be obliged to hunt you.
Will they now? You are exceedingly well informed. You're not to have said you'd heard rumors, at best.
A bit of subterfuge. This contract on your life is an ugly business. One the House of Repose deeply regrets. But this is Orlais. Even an assassin's word is his bond.
Does Comte Boisvert actually exist?
Absolutely. The Comte's offer to reveal the killers of Lady Montile's messengers was genuine. So was his information somehow. An end to be tied up later.
I thought you were remarkably well informed about a secret assassins guild.
We are hardly secret, my dear Inquisitor, just normally much more reclusive. The contract on Lady Montile's life is so unusual, we felt the courtesy of an explanation was in order.
It is appreciated, monsieur.
Your idea to seek out the Du Paraquet to revoke our orders is an interesting one. I wish you luck. I did not come to shed blood today, Inquisitor. Only to speak. Might I pass?
I'm gonna go with no.
Why warn us about your contract and let us go?
In Orlais, it is only decent to inform those involved in a contract when extraordinary circumstances conspire.
And the guild's reputation would suffer if you ignored the contract. I quite understand.
Thank you, my lady. May we conclude with my departure?
Not on your life.
As you wish.
These guys also make an appearance in Dragon Age 2, although they're not formally introduced.
That's the last of them.
I knew the bastard was up for something when he wouldn't let us upstairs with you two. Welcome, by the way.
Sarah, you will have all my thanks once we get back to Skyhold in safety. I've much to discuss with the Inquisitor there.
Do you hear something?
Oh, goodness. Comte Boisvert, is that you? Oh, the lock's been broken off. We'll find a saw. I realize the cabinet is quite valuable, Comte, but surely... A locksmith, then? As you wish.
I usually fight the assassin, half on the principle of you threaten my people, I'm gonna hurt you, and half because I really like that exchange between the Comte and Josephine. If you opt to let the assassin go, you're just teleported back to Skyhold, and you don't get that.
I'm so sorry, Inquisitor. I never thought my family's trading status would trap us in an assassin's plot.
Between our soldiers and spies, Skyhold's safer than anywhere else in Thedas.
Yet the problem persists. I've tracked down the last two parakeets. If they become gentry, they can annul the contract on my life. We'll require a noble from Val Royeaux to sponsor them, a judge to provide documents, a minister to ratify them.
It's so like you to take the longest course of action, even when your life is at stake.
I assume you already know everything about this mess.
There is a faster way, Josephine. The original contract on your life is in the vaults of the House of Repose. If my agents infiltrate it and destroy the original, the assassin will have no obligation to chase you.
Liliana, please. I want no more bloodshed over a personal affair.
Don't be so stubborn, Josie. How long will it take you to gather these favors in Val Royeaux? We can solve this without more deaths on either side. My people are ready, should you change your mind. I'll post a watch on our ambassador in case the House of Repose visits.
I appreciate it, but I still believe elevating the two parakeets will solve this. First, we need to perform some favors in Val Royeaux. I'd be happy to discuss where we could begin. Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor?
You said I'd have to do some favors in Val Royeaux if we want to make the Duparakets lords.
The Countess Dion is our first step. Her lover, a mage from the White Spire, is missing. Bring her news of him and she'll be very amenable to sponsoring the Duparakets as lords.
Once we have a free advisor, we'll head to the war table and take care of that. In the meantime, let's talk to Varric. Hawk was his friend.
Did I ever tell you about the time Hawk was on a merchant guild hit list? Hawk's uncle got into an investment scheme with a couple of merchant caste businessmen. They took a lot of people's coin in order to arrange the import of wandering hills from the Anderfells. A delicacy, I'm told. Their weird foreign foodstuffs arrived alive, and one of them, true to its name, wandered off in the middle of the night.
Keep going. I'd like to hear the rest of the story.
The guild traced the shipments to Hawk's uncle, but as usual, he was so far in debt he couldn't see daylight. So they went after Hawk instead. They sent guys from the local carter to Hawk's estate one night. 5 big dusters, armed to the teeth. They're about to kick down the door when Hawk just opened it and invites them all inside. Leandra, Hawk's mother, made them tea, and for the next 2 hours tried to get them to make small talk. They wandered out of the house in a daze. No idea what just happened. Never came back. Hawk just had that effect on people. I always wanted to tell that one. Thanks. I guess I've got some letters to write. Bethany should know what happened. Excuse me.
Battling the demons of paperwork. That's a fight nobody walks away from clean.
You have no idea the number of times I've almost been killed by bills of lading. I've been meaning to come talk to you anyhow. I never officially joined the Inquisition. I don't know how to do this disciplehood thing. I'm a businessman. Never really followed a chosen one before.
I don't need a disciple. I need a friend.
If you knew how intimidating you are, you wouldn't make it sound so simple. You just don't know what you are to the people out there. The Herald of Andraste is a symbol bigger than any of us.
What am I to you, then?
None of this shit makes any sense to me. Is this the end of the world? Did Andraste send you through the breach? I have no idea. You heard the crowd singing after Haven was attacked?
Please don't tell me you're going to burst into song now.
Don't worry, I'm not that cruel. I should probably get back to work. Unless, you up for a game of Wicked Grace? Sorry, I really need to write some letters. Another time, all right?
We can pick up Solas's personal quest.
Something wrong with your tea?
It is tea. I detest this stuff. But this morning, I need to shake the dreams from my mind. I may also need a favor.
But you don't need anything from anyone. You're known for that.
One of my oldest friends has been captured by mages, forced into slavery. I heard the cry for help as I slept.
When your friend was captured, how did he... she...
It.
it?
My friend is a spirit of wisdom. Unlike the spirits clamoring to enter our world through the rifts, it was dwelling quite happily in the Fade. It was summoned against its will, and wants my help to gain its freedom and return to the Fade.
I thought spirits wanted to find their way into this world.
Some do, certainly. Just as many Orlesian peasants wish they could journey to exotic Rivain. But not everyone wants to go to Rivain. My friend is an explorer, seeking lost wisdom and reflecting it. It would happily discuss philosophy with you, but it had no wish to come here physically.
Do you have any idea what the mages want with your friend?
No. It knows a great deal of lore and history, but a mage could learn that simply by speaking to it in the Fade. It is possible that they seek information it does not wish to give, and intend to torture it.
All right, let's go get your friend.
Thank you. I got a sense of my friend's location before I awoke. I'll mark it on our map. I cannot believe the Grey Wardens could even conceive of such a plan. To seek out these old gods deliberately, in some bizarre attempt to preempt the Blight.
And calling the army of demons. That's my favorite part.
The demons are nothing. They're a tool.
A tool that would have let Corypheus ride roughshod over most of Orlais.
Even if they hadn't, the entire idea is wrong. The Blight is not something one smugly outsmarts. Forgive me. The entire idea is... unnerving.
Any Venatori activity?
If my agents find anything, you will be the first to know.
In order to help Solas's friend, we need to actually unlock the Exalted Plains. It does cost a little bit of power, but there's a lot going on in the area, so it's well worth unlocking. We'll be traveling back there for other quests anyway.
Inquisitor, welcome to the Exalted Plains, a place with a long and bloody history. Even now, the region is volatile. This was a front in the Civil War. Now there's rebels called the Freemen of the Dales, recently emerged and adding to the chaos.
Must we dwell on such gloomy things?
I don't want to dwell, but look. It must have been so beautiful. Maybe even romantic.
This is where the elves made their last stand, isn't it?
Ah, you've studied the Dales. Yes. When offered a chance to lay down their arms and surrender, they refused.
This rebel group. Tell me more about them.
They seem to be simple deserters, tired of fighting and dying for either the Empress or the Grand Duke. Now they want the Dales for their own. Worse, they're more organized than we anticipated. Be wary.
What else can you tell me?
Scouts have sighted Dalish elves. There must be a clan camped somewhere on the plains.
That will be all. Thank you.
With the rifts and the undead, the Orlesians have lost ground. Most have been driven back to their forts. We have to stabilize the region, allowing the Imperial Army to re-establish its presence. Good luck, Your Worship. You'll need it.
I love flirting with Scout Harding. It's just such fun banter.
Thank you for this, Inquisitor. We are not far from where my friend was summoned. My friend? Ah!
The mages turned your friend into a demon.
Yes.
You said it was a spirit of wisdom, not a fighter.
A spirit becomes a demon when denied its original purpose.
So they summoned it for something so opposed to its own nature that it was corrupted. Fighting.
Let us ask them.
A mage! You're not with the bandits? Do you have any lyrium potions? Most of us are exhausted. We've been fighting that demon.
You summoned that demon! Except it was a spirit of wisdom at the time. You made it kill! You twisted it against its purpose!
I understand how it might be confusing to someone who has not studied demons, but after you help us, I can...
We are not here to help you.
Word of advice. I'd hold off on explaining how demons work to my friend here.
Listen to me. I was one of the foremost experts in the Kirkwall Circle.
Shut up. You summoned it to protect you from the bandits.
Yes.
You bound it to obedience, then commanded it to kill. That is when it turned. The summoning circle. We break it, we break the binding. No orders to kill, no conflict with its nature, no demon.
What? The binding is the only thing keeping the demon from killing us. Whatever it was before, it is a monster now.
Inquisitor, please!
I've studied rituals like this. I should be able to disrupt the binding quickly.
Thank you. We must hurry!
If there's a trick to this, it's just staying alive. The spirit-turned demon is going to attack you while you're taking these stones down. So, yeah. Also, your party will attack the demon as well, even though you've already said, hey, we're gonna take down the binding circle. That'll be great. There is a hotkey for attack my target though, which does make it a lot easier. You just have to make sure that you select a new stone as soon as the old one is down and tell everyone in your party to attack your target so that they don't attack the demon.
Tel Abelos en Asel Atalin. Mamilava Lani. Malasuladinadas. Magilani Midinan.
Manuvine. Darath Shara.
I heard what it said. It was right. You did help it.
Now? I must endure.
Let me know if I can help.
You already have. All that remains now is them.
Thank you. We would not have risked the summoning, but the roads are too dangerous to travel unprotected.
You tortured and killed my friend.
We didn't know it was just a spirit. The book said it could help us.
Damn them all. I need some time alone. I will meet you back at Skyhold.
Fun fact, if your Inquisitor is not a Dalish elf, you don't understand the conversation they had. You hear the Elvish, but you don't get the subtitles. The game is a bit selective about what your Dalish Inquisitor does and does not understand of Ancient Elvish.
Inquisitor.
Guess I owe Varric an ale. I wasn't sure you were coming back.
Neither was I for a time. But only a short time. You were a true friend. You did everything you could to help. I could hardly abandon you now.
Where did you go?
I found a quiet spot and went to sleep. I visited the place in the Fade where my friend used to be. It's empty. But there are stirrings of energy in the void. Someday something new may grow there.
What happens when a spirit dies?
It isn't the same for mortals. The energy of spirits returns to the Fade. If the idea giving the spirit form is strong, or if the memory has shaped other spirits, it may someday rise again.
You're saying your friend might come back?
No, not really. A spirit's natural state is peaceful semi-existence. It is rare to be able to reflect reality. Something similar may reform one day, but it might have a different personality. It would likely not remember me. It would not be the friend I knew.
I'll let you get back to work.
All right. Thank you again. Inquisitor, Do you have a moment? What were you like before the anchor? Has it affected you? Changed you in any way? Your mind? Your morals? Your spirit?
If it had, do you really think I'd have noticed?
No. That's an excellent point.
Why do you ask?
You show a wisdom I have not seen since my deepest journeys into the ancient memories of the Fade. You are not what I expected.
Sorry to disappoint.
It's not disappointing, it's... Most people are predictable. You have shown subtlety in your actions. A wisdom that goes against everything I expected. If the Dalish could raise someone with a spirit like yours, have I misjudged them?
I don't hold the Dalish up as perfect, but we have something worth honoring. A memory of the ancient ways.
Perhaps that is it. I suppose it must be. Most people act with so little understanding of the world, but not you.
So what does this mean, Solas?
It means that I respect you deeply, Inquisitor. And I have disturbed you enough for one evening.
Now we can finally do that mission for Josephine.
Knight Captain Ryland satisfied with his post?
It's not an easy assignment, but if anyone can handle the approach, it's him.
How can I help?
I'd like to hear more about what you saw in your exploration of the Fade.
I would be happy to share it.
Tell me about the old ruins you explored.
I found the ruin of Barandur, a lost Tevinter city buried deep beneath a dead and barren wasteland. Volcanic ash had sealed it tight. In one dark moment, every living creature in the city seared and smothered. They were statues in the ashes, like a mold made to recall the lost.
Tell me about a spirit you encountered.
I met a friendly spirit who observed the dreams of village girls as love first blossomed in their adolescence. With subtlety, she steered them all to village boys with gentle hearts, who would return their love with gentle kindness. The matchmaker, so I called her. That small village never knew its luck.
Tell me about the old memories you found in the Fade.
I saw a savage human horde go marching toward the battlefront. They sang a soldier's hymn to keep formation. Primal music shook the ground. These savage, unwashed warriors carried harmonies no chantry choirs mastered. Though their cause was all but hopeless, they sang songs that made the spirits weep.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
And if we head out here, we can see that one of Varric's friends has stopped by to say hello, have a friendly chat.
I appreciate the warning, but you shouldn't have come yourself. What if the guild found out, or what's his name?
Are you worrying for me or for yourself?
A little of column A, a little of column B. I am the expendable one, after all.
Oh, don't worry, I'll protect you. We'll just have to... Well, this is a surprise. You're the Inquisitor, right? Bianca Davry, at your service.
Your name is Bianca.
It's a common name. Half the girls in the Merchants Guild are named Bianca. The other half are named Helga. I lucked out.
I take it you're a friend of Varric's.
Who isn't a friend of Varric's? You have met him before, right?
Why do you both look like cats that got into the cream?
She's taken a huge risk coming here herself. Maybe for both of us.
You're such a worrier. There's a giant hole in the sky. I think the Merchants Guild has bigger things to think about.
Bianca's got a lead on where Corypheus got his red lyrium.
The site of Bartran's Folly, the tag Varric found, has been leaked. There's a deep roads entrance crawling with strange humans carting out red lyrium by the handful.
How do we know they're not using multiple entrances to get to the Tig?
Navigating the deep roads isn't like the surface. There's no accurate maps of the whole system, and there are cave-ins, darkspawn, lava floods. If you find a route that gets where you're going, you don't deviate. Trying to find another way could be deadly.
Who could have given away the Tig's location?
There were a few people who knew. Hirelings from the expedition, a couple of close friends.
How they found out isn't important. What matters is we know where they are now.
If it's such a secret, how do you know about it, Bianca?
I told her. Right after the expedition, I wrote and told Bianca what we found. I had artifacts that needed buyers, and she had more contacts that would pay for them. Plus, I owed her.
You can get there from Orlais. It's a long way to the Free Marches.
The deep roads are all connected. Or they used to be. Collapses and such. Some of them on purpose.
They really are roads. They spanned the Dwarven Empire, went to every corner of the continent, maybe further. In theory, you can get to any Tig using the deep roads, but in practice, there's a reason nobody uses them anymore.
We need to deal with this. As long as he has this source, Corypheus is that much more powerful.
I couldn't agree more.
I'll keep an eye on their operation. If you're interested in shutting it down, you've got my help. Try not to leave me waiting too long, Varric. I've got my own work to do, you know.
Right. That's not going to be trouble at all. Let me know when you want to head to the entrance.
Mercenaries?
Looks like Carta. Lyrium smuggling would be profitable around here.
Here is the deep roads entrance that we're going to be using. This is actually back in the hinterlands where we first started venturing out into the world.
Finally. I started to think you weren't coming.
Nobody said you had to hang out in the creepy cave while you waited.
Well, I did wait, so let's make this quick. These idiots are carrying the red lyrium out in unprotected containers. We don't want to stick around long enough for it to start talking to us.
Why would the containers need to be protected?
Lyrium is incredibly dangerous in its raw form. It can poison or kill dwarves, and we're resistant to it. Sometimes it just explodes. No warning.
Basically, only crazy people mine lyrium.
The mining cast doesn't just sling it into a bucket. It's carried in special containers that keep it under control. And that's normal lyrium. The red stuff is worse. I wouldn't be surprised if most of their miners die just digging it up.
You seem to know more about the effects of red lyrium than most.
Varric told me plenty about what it did to him. And his brother.
How did you find this operation in the first place? There must be hundreds of deep roads entrances.
I've used this entrance in the past. Varric's not the only surface dwarf to explore the deep roads. Oh, I've got to admit, I was pretty surprised when I came here and found it full of humans.
If you're coming with us, I hope you can handle a fight.
No, I thought I'd cower helplessly while you do all the work.
She's a decent shot.
Decent?
You want me to admit you're better than me in front of the Inquisitor?
Let's not waste any more time, shall we?
Varric, you kinda just did. There's a couple other quests down here as well. For the moment, we're just gonna do Varric's.
Old dwarven outpost.
What was it for?
Trade, maybe? Your guess is as good as mine.
So this is what you do now?
Beg pardon?
Skulking around in caves, shooting guys? Is this your day-to-day?
I usually try to avoid the caves.
Spawn. These won't be the last.
We may be too close to the surface for these to count as deep roads. But have I mentioned I hate the deep roads?
You had me worried, you know.
What did I do now?
That letter you sent me about the Red Lyrium was the first I'd heard from you since the Chantry explosion.
Had it been that long?
Seriously, if you died in that mess, I'd have come back to Kirkwall and dug you up just to kick your ass.
What would you do if I'd been cremated?
Kick your ashes, of course. I built these doors. They probably shut this one from the other side when they heard the ruckus we were making. Ta-da!
You've been here often enough to renovate the cave.
You already know I've used this entrance in the past. I don't know if Eric's told you, but the Merchants Guild is cutthroat. Literally. I built the doors to keep rivals from following me down here and arranging accidents.
Admit it, you've been waiting to do that since we arrived.
Of course I was.
How is what's-his-name?
Bogdan? He's in Navarra right now, selling my machine to wealthy landowners.
I heard some of the guild were trying to get you named a paragon for that contraption.
That's not gonna happen, even if I am 10 times the Smith Bronca ever was. A surfacer paragon? Never.
We learned a lot more about Bronca in the first game. She was just a tiny bit crazy. And by tiny, I mean a lot.
You know, this is almost fun. Kinda like old times.
I don't recall us ever shooting people together.
Remember crashing Bartran's guild dinner? We might as well have shot him.
This isn't nearly as dangerous as pissing off my brother.
In the second game, we find out how dangerous pissing off his brother really is. His brother was not a nice man.
There you are. You won't be able to use this entrance again.
Bianca.
You want to say something, Varric?
Andraste's ass, Bianca. You're the leak?
When I got the location, I went and had a look for myself. And I found the Red Lyrium, and I studied it.
You know what it does to people.
I was doing you a favor. You want to help your brother, don't you? I just wanted to figure it out.
How did you go from studying Red Lyrium to giving the location to Corypheus?
I found out that Red Lyrium... it has the Blight, Varric. Do you know what that means?
What? The two deadly things combined to form something super awful?
Lyrium is alive, or something like it. Blight doesn't infect minerals, only animals. I couldn't get any further on my own, so I looked for a Grey Warden mage. Blight and magical expertise in one, right? And I found this guy, Larius. He seemed really interested in helping my research. So I gave him a key.
Larius? He was the Grey Warden we met in Corypheus's... Oh, shit. I knew something seemed off.
I didn't realize until you said you found Red Lyrium at Haven. I came here and, well, then I went to you.
That name means something to you, Varric?
He was at the Grey Warden prison where we found Corypheus. And he definitely wasn't a mage before.
You had to know we'd figure out what happened, Bianca. Why did you insist on coming with us?
Varric told me what people were doing with the Red Lyrium. I had to help make this right.
You couldn't have known what would happen.
Mafarath's balls, she couldn't. I told her exactly how bad this shit was. I told her to keep away from it.
I know I screwed up, but we did fix it. It's as right as I can make it.
This isn't one of your machines. You can't just replace a part and make everything right.
No, but I can try, can't I? Or am I supposed to wallow in my mistakes forever, kicking myself, telling stories of what I should have done?
Ha! As if I would tell stories about my own mistakes.
The Red Lyrium is out. Closing this entrance won't undo that.
We've done all we can here. Bianca, you'd better get home before someone misses you.
Varric.
Don't worry about it.
Get him killed, and I'll feed you your own eyeballs, Inquisitor.
With that done, we're back at the war table. We've completed the find a sponsor for the Du Paraquets operation. Josephine will be able to tell us where to go from here.
Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor?
How exactly does one turn farmers into members of the upper classes?
There are procedures for granting honored citizens of the Empire the title of Lord or Lady. Very long procedures. And so much paperwork. I've called in a substantial number of favors just to cut through half of it.
How exactly does one...
They're very long procedures. And so much paperwork. I've called in a substantial number of favors just to cut through half of it.
Why did the Duparaquets hate the Montiliers so much they set up a permanent assassination watch?
A Montilier and a Duparaquet fell in love. A young couple, pledged elsewhere, attempted to elope. The whole thing ended so violently, it's a wonder any survived. It's fortunate the Duparaquet's descendants hold no grudges.
What if the Duparaquets refuse to aid you?
I've already contacted the Duparaquets, Inquisitor. They're ready to help us. It will be a long road, but a lordship is a chance to restore a proud lineage to their heirs. Besides, I've promised them a heavy bag of coin once this is over.
Are you sure the House of Repose will forget this assassin contract on a farmer's signature?
It's perfectly legal. In Val Royeaux's noble circles, a written word is a bond. Besides, the guild would never risk being so unspeakably crass.
These assassins are afraid of being seen as impolite.
Breaking one's public oath or bond implies a certain poverty in Orlais. A common merchant may lack the resources or manners to fulfill a debt, but among the guilds, it would be shameful.
What's the next favor we need to get these Duparaquets a lordship?
We need a judge of the royal court to procure documents acknowledging them as nobility again. Any news on why Corypheus is sending people to explore elven ruins of all things?
No, I suspect he keeps the reason secret, even from his inner circle.
Let us begin.
While the timer on that is running down, we'll go talk to some of our other companions.
I'm glad to have answers, but... shit. The second she showed up here, I knew. I let this mess happen. I gave her the tig. I am not good at dealing with shit like this.
You managed to talk your way out of most things.
That's what I do, isn't it? If Cassandra hadn't dragged me here, I'd be in Kirkwall right now, pretending none of this was happening.
You know that's not true. You've worked as hard as any of us to stop Corypheus.
Is that true? I don't even know anymore. Thank you for your help back there.
After all this, do you think you'll see Bianca again?
I always do. Looking for someone to talk your ear off? I think I can oblige.
Tell me more about Bianca.
I'm not making any promises here. Ask.
What makes the Merchants Guild such a danger to her?
Well, to be fair, it's more of a danger to me. Technically, we're not supposed to be within 300 leagues of one another. If it got back to the guild that we were seen together, they'd freeze my assets and then have me killed. Maybe not in that order.
What in the world did you do to cause that?
We almost started a clan war. Does it matter? I can't change it now.
How do you know Bianca? The lady, I mean, not the crossbow.
I met her years ago when she still lived in Kirkwall, and I was looking for someone with, mechanical skills. Bianca is, beyond a doubt, the most brilliant smith you'll ever meet. I haven't seen her since she got married and moved to Orlais.
Bianca is married. Somehow I thought the two of you had a history.
Bianca's family are Kaunas. Surface dwarves, so conservative they don't take a piss without asking the ancestors first. They picked out a smith caste boy for her. Wealthy, respected, has a great anvil collection. The perfect husband. I heard the wedding was lovely. The one Bianca actually showed up for, anyway.
All right, tell me the truth. Bianca made your crossbow, didn't she? I mean, it has her name.
It's not that simple. The Carta thinks my Bianca was a freak success by a Carta inventor who could never duplicate it. If they thought anyone else was involved, someone who could make one work, things would be bad. So, I really can't tell the story. I don't want any more blood on my hands.
So how long have the two of you been together?
Well, if you want to split hairs, we're not. Usually there's a continent between us at all times. We write letters. Now and then we manage to meet up. I don't know if that's together. Shit, it's been what, 15 years? Great. Now I feel old. Thanks.
I guess that's it for now.
Sure. I'll be here.
Let's talk to Dorian.
You have remarkably little here on early Tevinter history. All these gifts to the Inquisition, and the best they can do is the Malefica Imperio. Trite propaganda. But if you want 20 volumes on whether Divine Galatea took a shit on Sunday, this is evidently the place to find it.
And that's the Dorian I know, critiquing every book in my library.
I wouldn't have to if you could find some rebellious heretic archivist to join the cause.
Are there rebellious archivists? Other than you, that is.
If Corypheus ever starts burning masterworks of literature, I'm sure a few will pop up. Did I see something by Genitivi here? I could have sworn.
What is this about, Dorian?
When everyone returned, they told us about your tumble into the Abyssal Rift. You went into the Fade. Physically went in. Are you... all right?
Hawk is gone.
The Fade is an ordeal under normal circumstances. To be the only real thing there, beyond description. That you made it out at all is a miracle. You do realize this feat hasn't been performed in over 1,000 years. Corypheus and his contemporaries entered the Fade and began the Blights. In comparison.
So, I should be happy I accomplished something so grand.
Concerned, more like. If you can walk in the Fade, others will try to follow. Who knows what secrets Corypheus has revealed? Not all of them will be as lucky as you. What they could unleash. My advice? Keep this quiet. Let them speculate. Too many will see this as a challenge.
That's a good idea.
There are enough idiots in the world who think if they just use enough blood magic, their problems will vanish. It's exactly the sort of thing I want to stop back home. This I don't need. What I do need is a copy of the Liberalum. I'll wager I can find Corypheus's real name. If I can prove he was a grasping ankle-biter with no family to speak of, the luster would come right off. Wish me luck.
Anything interesting?
A letter regarding Felix, Alexius's son. He went to the Magisterium, stood on the Senate floor and told them of you. A glowing testimonial, I'm informed. No news on the reaction, but everyone back home is talking. Felix always was as good as his word.
Was?
He's dead. The Blight caught up with him.
That was a long journey for someone in his condition.
He must have raced back, pulled strings like a madman. Ordinarily, it takes months to gather the Senate. Felix used to sneak me treats from the kitchens when I was working late in his father's study. Don't get into trouble on my behalf, I tell him. I like trouble, he'd say. Tevinter could use more mages like him. Those who put the good of others above themselves.
Were the two of you...
Felix and I? What an odd question. No, I had no intention of abusing Alexius's hospitality by seducing his son. Not that I've been proper my whole life, by any means. It wasn't like that. Even in illness, Felix was the best of us. With him around, you knew things could be better.
He should be an example for others to follow, or his death is wasted.
Should I spread the word? We could spawn the cult of Felix within a matter of days.
There are worse things.
Probably true. And you're right. His actions should not be forgotten. Thankfully, Felix wasn't the only decent sort kicking around Thedas. Always with the questions. What will people say?
You said Alexius was a mentor of yours.
He was my patron, sponsoring me to the higher levels of the Circle of Magi. In return, my successes were his. I had a lot of successes, naturally. Alexius was most pleased. He and I used to talk over brandy about the corruption, how we could one day make real change in the Imperium. And then he gave up. He stopped trying.
Why did he give up?
On a journey to Hossberg, a Darkspawn raid killed his wife and sickened his son. I remember hearing the news. He hadn't been there, you see. Alexius was convinced he could have protected them. And the guilt tore him up. I helped him with his research for a while, and then we drifted apart.
You mean you fought with him?
I told him to snap out of it, move on. I thought I had all the answers. Later, I regretted my hasty words. But we didn't speak again until he approached me for the Venatori. Too much pride, I suppose. Plus, I was busy drinking. One must have priorities.
I don't think that's it. You felt guilty because you couldn't help him.
Never you. I had a choice, you see. Wallow in self-pity or get away while I could. At any rate, he's fallen so low, I doubt he'll ever get up. Sad, really.
I should go.
As you wish.
I'm told you gave the Grey Wardens another chance, Inquisitor. Would I have done the same, I wonder? Forgiveness can be difficult. I hope the Order values what you've done, and gives you no reason to regret it.
I'll leave you to it.
Liliana has questions, of course.
Inquisitor. I have been thinking. You remember everything now, yes? The explosion at Haven, the Fade, escaping the breach. In your report, you said Justinia was with you. But only you emerged in the end. Why? Why were you the only survivor?
She knew it was either her or me. And she wanted me to live.
Of course. Of course she did. That's just like her. Her message to me. I failed you too. I'm not sure I understand what that means. Did you say anything else? Anything at all? Please, if you remember.
Wait. You don't know what she meant either?
There are no answers in the Fate. Only illusions. A warped mirror. Justinia has never failed me. I was her left hand. Now she's dead. I failed her. So Varric knew where the champion was all along. That's the last time we sent Cassandra to interrogate.
Anything I should know?
I've agents stationed by the ruins of Haven, should Corypheus or his lackeys return. So far nothing, and the breach has been quiet for some time. There is something at least.
I'll leave you to your work.
My Lady Inquisitor, it's good of you to speak with me. I have news regarding one of your companions, the Winter.
Is that a note of distaste I detect, Mother Giselle?
I admit his presence here makes me uncomfortable, Inquisitor, but my feelings are of no importance. I have been in contact with his family. House Pavas out of Carenas. Are you familiar with them?
familiar. We've never met, if that's what you're suggesting.
I'm suggesting nothing. I'm only curious whether you know of his situation. The family sent a letter describing the estrangement from their son and pleading for my aid. They've asked to arrange a meeting quietly without telling him. They fear it's the only way he'll come. Since you seem to be on good terms with the young man, I'd hoped...
Just what kind of meeting do they have in mind?
I believe they just want to talk, to understand why Dorian felt he had to come here. Somewhere private, away from Skyhold, but not in Tevinter. You make them nervous, I think. They don't understand why he's here with the Inquisition. They want him to come home.
I'd be worried too if my son ran off to join some gauche foreigners on a crusade.
So would I. Although I suspect there's more to it than either of us understands.
Why would his family contact you?
Because they don't know you, Inquisitor. I am not of the Imperial Chantry, but they know what I represent. These are parents concerned about the welfare of their son. How could I not do whatever possible? I would speak to the young man myself, but he does not care for me. Thus I come to you. If any good can come of this, we must try.
They don't want Dorian to know. That seems odd.
They believe the young man would refuse, and the letter implies he'd have cause. Yet, they are remorseful for whatever came before. This is a chance for dialogue. There is deceit in bringing the young man to this meeting without his foreknowledge, I know. But does it not lead to a greater kindness if there is potential for reconciliation?
Are you sure this isn't some kind of trap? I mean, the secrecy...
That did occur to me. What if it is a plot of those mages, the Venatori? Another reason to put this in your hands, Inquisitor. I pray that isn't the case. But if it is, you are far better equipped than I to respond to such treachery.
If you think I'm going to trick Dorian into meeting his family...
I feared you might say that. The family will send a retainer to meet the young man at the Red Cliff Tavern, to take him onward. If he truly does not wish this reunion, he can always end the matter there. I pray you change your mind, Inquisitor. Perhaps their letter will persuade you. If there is any chance of success in this, it behooves us to act.
This is what starts up Dorian's personal quest, which we will take care of in our next segment. Basically, that letter is his parents admitting that there were problems at home, but they want Dorian to come back and be part of the family again. We have the judge's favor. That's
what
good.
Happened in Adamant is a shame. I'm still reeling over the army of demons. Imagine what would have happened if the Inquisitor hadn't arrived. Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor?
What's the next favor we need to get these Duparacats a lordship?
We must persuade Minister Belize to ratify the papers. She's in charge of these matters of rank. The minister will be at a small fete thrown by the Marquis Wiscott. I'll get you an invitation.
She says she'll get the invitation, but we still have to send her on the mission to get it. That's activated, so this is gonna count down on its own time. That wraps things up for right now. We'll continue with Josephine and Dorian next time.